In this video, I want to talk about the one crucial movement that you need to make sure that you maintain in your body, you don't lose range of motion in your body, so that you can keep a healthy, active, and great well-being life. And I want to talk about why this movement is important, how much of this movement you should have, how you will have the ability to measure this movement in yourself, and if you do find a reduction, what you can do in order to help that. So let's dive straight in. If you are new to this channel, my name is Jon. I'm a sports injury therapist, and I want to do three simple things: help you understand your body better, get rid of any pain, injury or weakness, and strive forward to hit your health and well-being goals. And speaking of striving forward to hit your health and well-being goals, in this one I want to talk about this vital movement, what this movement is, why it's so important, how you can measure it yourself, how much of it you should have, and what you should do if you find a restriction. But let's dive straight in to say that this movement that you want to maintain in terms of the range of motion is dorsiflexion. Now, what is dorsiflexion? Well, dorsiflexion is a movement at the ankle. It's effectively the ability for the knee to drive over the toe. So this movement happening at our ankle joint. Now, firstly, why is this movement so important? Well, it's fundamental to everything we do. We need it for walking, we need it for running, we need it for jumping. So all those things, if you're looking for somebody who wants to maintain walking, maintain running, you need this movement. It also is the base of our foundation. So for me, dorsiflexion, the reason I think that it's so important is that if we were trying to build a house, we wouldn't want to do that on bad foundations. If we had a start of a brand new home that we wanted to be built correctly and to be sustainable and long-term and all those sorts of things, we would make sure that the foundations are good and then we would build upon it. If we didn't have good foundations, then we would expect cracks or problems to appear. And the human body is no different. We need this strong foundation at the bottom and this movement of dorsiflexion to happen. If we get a reduction in this movement, that causes problems further up the chain, and that's where we can start developing problems at the ankle, at the knee, at the hip, at the lower back, and even further beyond. So for me, if there is one vital movement, it's this movement of dorsiflexion. Now, how much dorsiflexion should we have and how do we test it? Well, it's said that we want between about 8 to 10 centimeters of dorsiflexion. Now, what does that even mean? Well, roughly speaking, it's about a closed fist with your thumb tucked in. That's the distance of dorsiflexion that I should have. Now, how do I measure this dorsiflexion? Well, we have a very handy test in order to measure this that we call the knee to wall test. Now, you can do this knee to wall test either standing or kneeling, and I'm going to talk through both now. But what you want to do is find yourself a wall. You want to place your foot flat on the floor, and it's important throughout these tests that that heel remains glued to the floor on the side that you're testing. Then what you want to do is take your knee so that it touches that wall without lifting the heel. Nice and easy. Well, then what you can do is slide that toe further back. And what we're looking to do here is ultimately find the maximum distance, and you will hit a maximum distance where you can't get that knee to hit the wall whilst keeping the heel in contact with the floor. You want to lift that heel in order to achieve the target. But as soon as you find this distance, as soon as you find the maximum distance that you can achieve, that is the distance and the amount of dorsiflexion we should have. And that is the distance that should be 8 to 10 centimeters, or as I said, about a fist width. So you can just do this test by placing your fist up against that wall, placing your toes behind the fist, and can you drive that knee, so that the knee touches the wall whilst keeping your heel on the floor. As I mentioned, we can do this test standing, as you've seen there, but a good reflection or a good test is to also do this kneeling. What we want to make sure whenever we're doing this test that the hips remain nice and still and level, so we're not cheating. But what we can do is do it kneeling and repeat the same test. Do we get the same distances? Again, this distance should be about 8 to 10 centimeters. So that's the amount of dorsiflexion that we have. If you've got that, great. We know that we're building on strong foundations. What if you find that that movement is difficult? What if you've got less movement, knee movement over the toe? I do often see people in clinic that actually can't even take their knee over the toe. So even with their toe being up against the wall, they've become so tight at the back here, so around the calf area, that actually what's happening is that they've got none of this movement at all. So that is definitely going to cause problems further up the chain, because we require this movement, as I said earlier, to walk and run. So if we haven't got the movement naturally, we'll have to create that from somewhere else, and that's where we can develop these compensation injuries. So really, one of the first things that we want to be doing is stretching out this calf complex. So the two two main muscles that are really restricting dorsiflexion, and that would be our gastrocnemius and our soleus. So here you can see me doing two simple stretches in order to work those areas. Remember, with our static stretches, we're holding them for 30 seconds. And as with the knee to wall test, the key thing here is that back heel is remaining flat on the floor. You'll see the difference, between the gastrocnemius and the soleus stretch is quite small, but what we're doing on the soleus stretch is having the back leg bent. That will mean that you should feel that stretch slightly lower down in the area, but deep into that calf area. So once you're holding these stretches for 30 seconds, you can repeat these stretches daily. And what you should start to find is after a week or two, or perhaps 3 to 4 weeks, that you have better movement at that knee to wall test. If you don't, then I would recommend, even after the stretching program, that you perhaps get that checked out. So it might be that there's going to be some mobilizations of the ankle that are going to help you to increase that movement of dorsiflexion. But I hope that video has been helpful for you. What I want you to achieve from this video is an analysis of your own dorsiflexion, which is ultimately analysis of the foundations that you're looking to build upon in your healthy, active lifestyle. And if you found that to be helpful, if you've gone and done that test and that's been enlightening for you, you can do me a favor by smashing that like button. And if this is the type of content that you want to be seeing and you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, as most people who watch this video actually haven't subscribed to the channel, why not? Hit that subscribe button, then I will be letting you know as soon as I drop my next video. Speaking of another video, here's one to help you on your health well-being journey. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification, and I will be seeing you on the next one. See you there.